Yo, yo, yo. What's up, guys? Good morning. What's going on? We're progressing, dude. Feeling better, feeling better. I don't think we're 100%, but dude, it is, I am much better than I was the past couple of days anyway, so that is a good thing. We'll go hard today, man, probably. We'll try to get a good amount of gaming in today, try to make up for some of that lost holiday time and some of the shorter streams that we've done here of late. Try to really get some of this Breath of the Wild content taken care of, yeah. Work our way towards the forest. You know what I'm saying? It's good to see you guys. Happy Tuesday. Today is day 30 of Breath of the Wild. Yeah, so we'll be doing that. We finally have the ancient sets and the barbarian set fully upgraded. That was one of the big things I wanted to get done in this playthrough. After I found those sets, I knew that those were going to be some big ones that I wanted to get fully upgraded moving forward. We got that done yesterday, and now it is just basically trying to get all the questing finished. That's all we really have left, and we've been knocking that out pretty well. So we'll keep doing it. We'll keep moving on it today. I would like to have Breath of the Wild finished within the next week. So that's our aim. Have Breath of the Wild finished within the next week and move on to the forest. And then on the 31st, we will be working our way into Superfuse. And then we'll be doing some Hogwarts Legacy when that releases. So that's kind of our schedule coming up, man. But we are focused on Breath of the Wild, finishing that up, and we'll keep pushing, okay? So it's good to see you guys. Good morning, good morning. I hope everybody's doing well. Let's do what we do. Let's get into this video gaming news segment. See what's going on in the world of video games before we actually get into our play of the video games today, okay? Check it out. This is what we're listening to this morning. BPM, baby. Bullets per minute soundtrack. Awesome first-person shooter, rhythm-based first-person shooter. Roguelite game. It's got a really cool art style. It's got a great soundtrack, too. So if you're enjoying it, check it out. Cool. Cut the music. Let's get into this video game stuff, this video game news segment. Let's do it. Let's see what we got. We've talked enough about cars incorporating gaming platforms, you know. I think right now it's going to be more of a distraction than anything. I absolutely understand how big of a deal this is, especially with the prominence in the future of driverless cars, automation, and vehicles. But right now it's not there. I see gaming and cars being more of an issue than it will be, because even if the driver can't play, right? Even if if the driver can't play, but the games are able to be played while the car is in motion, if there are screens around the driver that are showing the games, it can be a distraction. But really, I mean, anything can be. Now, if if a driver wants to be distracted, they will be distracted. They'll use their phone to be distracted, what have you. So, I mean, is it really that big of a difference than what is happening right now? Probably not. Really. So, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that a lot of gaming platforms and hardware developers are trying to get into this area of tech early. We've hit on it enough, though. I'm not going to dive into that. Xbox Developer Direct event may be coming this month. Let's take a look at that. Last of Us drops in like roughly what 5 days on the 15th, I think. The Last of Us on HBO, and I'm interested in watching it. The first episode has been announced at being like roughly 90 minutes long. That's like a full movie normally, what you'll see in a movie. So the first episode alone is 90 minutes. The other episodes after that are not going to be that long. Um, I don't know exactly how long the following episodes will be, but I think there are roughly what 10 to 12 episodes for this adaptation for this season, and it's seeming like some good stuff, man. So I'm interested in taking a peek at it. We'll see. If anybody else watches it, let me know. Let me know what you think. Forza Horizon leave Xbox's Playground Games to form a new AAA studio. Interesting. League of Legends teases 2 new champions and reveals some other stuff. We'll take a look at that. Steam breaks another record with 10 million concurrent in-game. They're continuing to break records. This is about every couple to 3 months they're breaking records. This is going to continue to happen. I don't know if it's worth diving into these articles all the time anymore. It's just what was one of the more recent ones they broke? Is it accounts? The number was like 30 million. It can't be accounts, right? Can't remember what it was off the top of my head right now, but they're continuing to break these records that they are setting. It just continues to happen. Steam is a massive, massive, massive platform for PC gaming, and they're continuing to break records. It's just it's actually really just part of what we're seeing as gaming becoming such a huge thing for the world. And Steam being at the forefront of the PC gaming for their platform. There are other PC gaming platforms, but Steam has long been the go-to for getting a library started. They have a very, very intuitive, they've been doing this for a long time, as opposed to some of the other major platforms. Like Epic has been around for, I don't know what, going on 5 years now, something like that. Their platform, and they're doing well. But Steam has really been doing this for a long time. They've got, they allow gamers to flex with their profiles. They've got all kinds of customization options. They've, you know, got a ton of games available to purchase for your library. It's a really, really nice platform. And therefore, that's where most people doing PC gaming gravitate towards that platform to begin with. And I think that's why you see most of these records just continue to be beat, because more people are getting into gaming, and more people getting into PC gaming gravitate towards Steam in the first place. So it makes sense. We read about this the other day. This is going to probably. Here's the deal. The open gaming license for D&D was initially pretty open, and it allowed a lot of, whether it be for video games or board games or what have you, it allowed a lot of creators and developers to take the Dungeons and Dragons different areas of Dungeons and Dragons and incorporate it into their own worlds, if you will, which benefited both sides. It benefited D&D, and it benefited these other developers as well for being able to create worlds and not have to create some kind of new independent kind of play style that people weren't familiar with. D&D is very popular, and it helped D&D become more popular, as well as making it easy for people to jump into these titles and already have kind of a pretty good grip on the way the game mechanics would play out, right? But there's a new open gaming license that has been rolled out for D&D, and there are some pretty notable changes. The initial one said that any gaming license that came after couldn't supersede the initial one, but now they're saying that the new gaming license coming out supersedes all others that came before, and it's very, very restrictive. There are a lot of people in the industry that think that it's going to be worth taking them to court over and stuff. I don't know. We'll read about it, see if there's anything new that has come about over the past couple of days since we initially saw this come out. Okay, it could potentially mean a great deal for video games based on Dungeons and Dragons mechanics moving forward. It could. We'll see how it goes. What? What is this? Okay. I think they're talking about, yeah, Marvel's Midnight Suns. We've hit on this recently. Marvel's Midnight Suns went on sale really quick after its release, but it's supposed to be a pretty fun game. And if you're interested, they've been having a lot of sales on it, on all of its editions too, not just the base game edition. There's a few different editions: Legendary Edition, I think, a Digital Deluxe, and the base game. They've all been on sale. Relatively quickly after it came out too. So we'll take a look at that. Yeah, we've hit on this, but I'll pull it up again in case anybody's interested. I think what is it, Dead Space Remake gives players free Dead Space 2 or one of the original games. Is the upgraded edition, the new gen edition of Witcher 3, is it playable on PC yet? Look, Blood and Wine was great content. It really was. But dude, CDPR is having a. I mean, can that company actually release anything in a good state? I don't. I don't know. Valorant Episode 6 cinematic, Lotus map, and more revealed. Take a look at that for everybody. Let's change our search here. Yeah, there's a lot of hype about the Last of Us adaptation on HBO. There really is. There are a lot of people saying that it's very good. That I guess have gotten a sneak peek at it. I'm interested. Not all video game adaptations have gone real smoothly. I mean, even of late, we've seen there appears to be some issues with the Borderlands adaptation right now. Um, and it's very hush coming out of that studio because while there are some notable actors like Jack Black and Kevin Hart, um, and I'm missing some notable actors in the Borderlands adaptation. It sounds like they're having some significant issues on that front with that show. So I don't know, but even with movies that have come out in the past or adaptations, shows, movies based off of video games, they haven't all gone great, right? But The Last of Us is kind of hyped up right now, and it seems like people are pretty impressed with what they've seen so far. Just the trailers look pretty good. I'll touch on this real quick. Almost 90% of games sold in the UK in 2022 were digital. Um, there's going to be an amount of this that is due to the fact that it's easier nowadays to buy digital than it is physical. That's just a fact. Um, it's it's easier. This is the way the gaming industry is headed, and we talk about this a lot. There's a lot of things to take into consideration here, though. I still have one platform, being Nintendo, that I buy almost all my games physical copy. Um, just to make sure that in the event that I don't have any kind of internet connection or anything like that, I have a number of games that I can still play, that I can just put into a console and play around with. Yeah. So I don't have to worry about disk space. I don't have to worry about uh, anything like that. DRM, any of those kinds of issues. All my PC stuff anymore is digital, you know. So there are pros and cons to both side of it, but I think it's important for people to understand what the negatives are of having an entirely digital collection and why it might behoove you to take a look at having a few physical games in your collection still nowadays. But this is the way we are headed. Most of the gaming industry is transitioning into a digital medium, and it's going to get harder and harder for you to be able to get your hands on physical games. That's just the short of it right there. That's the way it's going to be. We're already transitioning, but we have been for a while into that fact. Official Final Fantasy 16 video reimagines the PS5 game style. What? In pixel art style. Wait, what? All right, we'll take a look at that. Interesting. Interesting. So, the Madden games, which EA, right, are removing CPR touchdown celebrations in wake of the Damar Hamlin crisis. If you don't know who Damar Hamlin is, this is an individual that went into cardiac arrest on the playing field. Roughly what, a week and a half ago. This individual, after a play, um, went into cardiac arrest on the field. Apparently is doing well, but was in, I mean, heart literally stopped on the field. Um, Kudos to all the medical professionals that jumped into action very, very quickly, realized something was wrong, and took action. And probably, I would say, most definitely saved Damar Hamlin's life. But looks like the Madden games will be removing all these CPR touchdown celebrations in light of that event. So What? What is this? ESPN to be the first sports broadcaster to use Unreal Engine for real-time graphics. All right, let's see what's going on there. It's not necessarily gaming news, but it does have to do with the gaming world, gaming, the most technologically advanced gaming engine widely available right now, and we'll see what's going on there. This might be a dupe kind of article. Xbox boss seemingly teases big news for this week. Let's put this back here. That might be a dupe article. We might not need to read that. We already have another Xbox Developer Direct event with some details on that, so we'll see. Goblin Slayer game announced for Nintendo Switch and PC. Let's take a look. We've seen a lot of this lately. Individuals being left off the credits of video games, right? The Callisto Protocol report says key staffers were left off the game's credits. There is no standard for how long an employee must work on a video game to be included in a game's credits. And it's a big deal for people's names to end up on the credits in the video game industry. So if your name doesn't show up on the credits, then you're basically, just going off of it's like, yeah, I worked on that game. And it's like most of the time that's what people are going to do anyways, though, is like, who can I contact to verify this information? You'll have contacts that you worked under for that project or whatever that can verify that information. That's usually how it's going to work anyways. But it's an amount of just, needing to give credit where credit is due. That's why we always let credits run when we finish games here in this channel. It's important. And it's important to those people that put an amount of time and effort into those projects. So I don't know. This has been an issue for quite a while. It's been something at the forefront of the news here lately. We've seen a lot of games that are leaving a lot of people, apparently, that had a great deal to do with these games out of the credits. So I don't know. This is not the only issue in the gaming industry that could, really do to have some kind of organization as a whole that stands up for gaming, in standing up for the rights of gaming workers. And I'm not talking about specific individual unions and things like that for each organization, but an actual organization that is set up to fight for rules in the industry, to get specific things like this set in writing about who has to be put on the credits. You know what I mean? How much do voice actors have to be paid? It's things like that. There's a lot in this industry that is just kind of, there's no written laws or rules or anything about what has to be done. It's just it's been done willy-nilly for a very long time. And ultimately, I think it's really becoming a huge concern for the industry and a lot of the people involved in this industry. And there needs to be some kind of organization that's set up of I think a group of individuals that would be, but it needs to be a group of individuals that are like non-biased, right? Yeah, like we're not talking about like putting Bobby Kotick at the head of this thing. You know what I mean? So It's a tough thing to do, but it's needed to get some definitive rules and laws and things like that going in regards to what has to be abided by in regards to what's done in the gaming industry. Arcane's Redfall has more in common with Far Cry than Left 4 Dead. Okay, we'll take a quick peek at this. Star Wars Jedi Survivor update reveals what? Inappropriate content, huh? Huh. We got a lot of stuff today. Yeah. Xbox is raising prices on stuff. It looks like we kind of knew that was going to be happening. Feels bad. They said initially after Sony had done this, specifically PlayStation, had raised prices before the end of the year last year, that Xbox had come out and said, we won't do that. We're not gonna be like Sony, you know. And then right towards the end of the year, they said, well, let's backtrack a little bit and we won't be like Sony until next year. So here we are, and Xbox stuff is starting to increase in price. So be on the lookout for that. New Sony title leak: sci-fi RPG built on Unreal Engine 5. What? G4 TV's Adam Sessler hates gamers? What? Oh, dude, wow. I'm not going to dive into that. Adam Sessler having a meltdown on Twitter, apparently. I don't know. Hogwarts Legacy is Steam's best selling game right now. Am I surprised? No. All right. It's been the most wishlist game for a long time at this point. So the fact that it's the best selling game right now doesn't surprise me at all. Let's go ahead and jump in here. These are the art of dude. It's going to be a bit of a lengthy news segment probably, but let's see what we got. Hogwarts Legacy is Steam's best selling game right now. We're still a way off Hogwarts Legacy release, especially if you're not a PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X or S owner. But that hasn't stopped the game from dominating the year's early sales charts. Hogwarts Legacy is already the top selling PlayStation 5 game of 2023. It's somewhat surprising given the controversy surrounding the title due to J.K. Rowling's transphobic comments, which left many fans feeling alienated by the author. PlayStation owners are set to get a hefty chunk of exclusive content, including the haunted Hogsmeade shop side quest, which could explain the surge of pre-orders. It appears, though, that the PC version is proving to be similarly popular as it's topping the Steam charts. One of the things that pre-ordering, especially pre-ordering the upgraded version, does is gives you a 3-day early entry into the game. Yo, Ghost, what's up, buddy? Best RPG you're excited for? I mean, I'm gonna play it, and I'm gonna play it. I am really, really sketched out. Welcome to the community, buddy. By the way, welcome to the channel. Games on the release scare the crap out of me anymore, especially games that get hyped up really big, and for sure, developers that don't have necessarily a lot of experience doing this, a certain type of game or what have you. I think it's good that they branch out and try to do those kinds of things, but it doesn't make me necessarily feel really good about, you know, a game getting hyped up that much and then being able to deliver on it. So we've just been duped too many times. We've feel cheated too many times. Games release in a very bad state or almost unplayable, or they release and they don't follow through with the amount of content that they said they were going to have. Things like that. There are a lot of people like Cyberpunk. Yes, my friend. Yes, yes, yes. There are a lot of examples, right? So um, this is a game that has been hyped up for a very long time. I am going to play it on release. I'm going to probably I'm going to grab the upgraded version so I can play it a few days early. That way, this community can get a look at what the game has to offer and get a really good idea of whether they want to play it on the actual drop date or not. For those that aren't sure about it, you know what I mean? But I've been excited about it. I want to see it. What I have seen of the game, they came out with like a 30-minute video not too long ago, and it looks pretty solid. But a developer is always going to show you what they want you to see and not necessarily what they don't want you to see, right? So I already know I do not. Yeah, Wick. Yeah. So, I mean, thanks, buddy. What's up, dude? So, I mean, there are a lot of people in this community that are excited about it. I know, and that's why I'm going to go ahead and grab it early. Outside of Wick, all right. Outside of Wick, I know there are a lot of people that are excited about it, and so I'm going to grab it early. I'm going to play it, and I'm going to try to show people what it has to offer. I hope it's good. I hope it's good. But we'll see. Where they at? Dude, we've had a lot of people in here talking about how psyched they are about this game. Look, we got Ghost Reaper right here, ready to roll, baby. You want names? Those with the PS4, Xbox One will have to wait. How are you guys this morning, by the way? We'll have to wait until 4 April to get their hands on the game. Switch players will then eventually receive the title on 25 July. Certainly a unique rollout and one that plenty of players aren't happy with. The delay to the previous gen versions has resulted in a number of pre-orders being canceled. Avalanche didn't exactly explain why the previous gen versions had been delayed, although they did add they wanted to deliver the best possible game experience across all platforms. The delay is probably for the better, but it's going to be hard watching some people dig in next month, I'm sure. Avalanche didn't exactly explain why the previous gen versions had been delayed, although they did add they wanted to deliver the best possible game experience across all platforms. The delay is probably for the better, but then it's going to be hard watching some people dig in next month. Yeah. I mean, for sure. I think that's one of the things that's been concerning for people too, is like, why is it not releasing on all platforms at the same time? But at the same time, we'd much rather see a game not release on specific platforms and be polished for those platforms rather than try to release every single version at the same time. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'll be playing it on PC. So Ghost, do me a favor and let me know how you feel about it on PS5, because quite often the versions of games, unfortunately, can vary greatly in the quality on their each respective platform that they release on. That sucks, but that's the way the industry rolls, right? So I'm interested to see how it feels on a lot of different platforms. I'll be playing it on PC. So if you get a chance to take a break from your gameplay at some point to come let us know how you feel about the PS5 version, man, I would love to hear it. Okay. There's a lot of hype, man. It looks cool. And hey, thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. So we'll keep track, and we'll be playing. It's on the schedule, man. It's on our schedule to play, and I hope it's good. I really do. I hate to see games like this get hyped up this much and then not follow through. It's really, really disheartening for us as the consumer and as lovers of video games to see this kind of thing happen. Is rough. So I hope it's very good. I really do, man. All right, moving on. New Sony title leaked. Sci-fi RPG built on Unreal Engine 5. Heard scoring is better. Oh, gross, dude. You're such a troll, bro. A respected leaker on the Reset Era forums has recently shared. If scoring's better, bro. Cover Starfield yet? Yeah, we've been covering Starfield. I do the news every single day, man. So we hit on the past 24 hours worth of video gaming news. The what seems to be the most notable kinds of articles that come out over the past 24 hours every single day. So I haven't hit Starfield yet today, but we've talked a lot about Starfield. If you have anything that you would like to talk about, let me know, man. We'll hit on it. New Sony title leaked, sci-fi RPG built on Unreal Engine 5. Respected leaker on the Reset Era forums has recently shared footage of what looks to be a brand new IP from Sony. Apparently, this game will be a sci-fi RPG. Watch out, Starfield. Yeah. So we talked about this like yesterday, and the article we saw was like Sony's creating a Starfield killer. The thing I found funny about calling something that is, first of all, my hype. I'm not hyped about Starfield. There are a lot of people. There's some people that are hyped about Starfield, and then there are some people that are anticipating Starfield. There's a difference. Wick, you're so trolly, dude. I am anticipating Starfield. I will not play it on release because I don't trust Bethesda anymore. I do find it funny that articles will come out and be like, "Watch out, Starfield! Sony's creating a Starfield killer." You don't even know if Sony needs to create a Starfield killer yet because Starfield could be a hot mess. Respected because of Skyrim. Yeah, look, there is a reason why Bethesda is a notable developer, right? But this is the thing that is rough. And this has happened and does happen with a lot of developers. They get big, they get a focus on money and greed, and they forget what it means to create quality content. Bethesda has had its issues, right? Over the past, especially half decade. They've had their issues. And Skyrim was amazing. There are a lot of old Bethesda games that are, amazing, which is why Bethesda is such a household name in gaming. But it doesn't change the fact that, there are a lot of people that aren't necessarily hyped about Starfield and Redfall. They're more anticipating seeing if Bethesda can get themselves back to a place of what we remember Bethesda being and what we fell in love with Bethesda being about back in the day, right? Skyrim was awesome. Did it have its issues? Yeah, but it was overall great. But you talk about some stuff like Fallout 76, things like that, pretty cringy, man. And so for me, it's more anticipation about seeing if Bethesda can still create that Skyrim type of content, the Elder Scrolls type of content from old. Rather than some of the stuff we've seen of recent from that developer. I know there are people that are hyped about it, and I'm going to watch it from afar. I just don't feel comfortable buying into it day one. I hope it's good, dude. I'm always going to hope that a developer has righted the ship. They've found a way to, get things back in order, bring us quality content again. But I don't always believe in that either, So we'll see what happens. If Sony can do one thing right, it's first-party games. Look at the success of God of War or The Last of Us, which got its own high-budget HBO TV series, which drops on the 15th. I just talked about that. I am excited to see the Last of Us adaptation. It's looking to be a pretty good show. They just seem to have a good knack for commissioning these titles and understanding that single-player IPs can still deliver the big bucks. We are therefore delighted to announce the news of an upcoming Sony IP that has just been leaked. This one looks seriously ambitious and it might even be stepping on the toes of the highly anticipated Starfield and even perhaps Ubisoft's open Star Wars game, which is set to be announced very soon. The Ubisoft open Star Wars game we've hit on, that game is not looking to actually come out until we're talking like probably late 2024 or even 2025. That one's a little ways away. A new Sony IP in development. First shared by John Elden Ring, a respected member of the Reset Era forums, a new Sony IP has just been leaked. It seems to be a sci-fi RPG made on Unreal Engine 5. Mr. Elden Ring posted a video of the new game's development, but it has since been removed. And for obvious legal reasons, we can't share it with you here. The information is still very sparse. This is all John Elden Ring was able to share in the comments. The game is an RPG sci-fi on UE5. This is a very early build. Game is a second party in development by an ex-dev. Not much to go on, but given Sony's track record, we expect it to be fantastic. Okay. Yeah, it's not a lot of info, but we kind of saw a little bit about this yesterday as well. And we'll see, dude. We will see. Now, I mean, Starfield's dropping really quick. And for them to, like, say things like, watch out, Starfield. Like, I mean, how close is this to even coming out? So how can you even say that? If it's going to compete with Starfield, it would have to be something that's going to drop soon. Otherwise, it's just, I don't know. Like, okay. It'll be Sony's next version of something that would be similar to Starfield, right? But I don't know that it would necessarily be competing with it because it doesn't seem close, right? Starfield is going to be dropping. Here's my thought, okay? Starfield, if you guys are not aware, the fiscal year for the gaming industry runs differently than the calendar year does, right? So the fiscal year runs from an April 1st date through a March 31st of the next year date. So we're coming up towards the end of the fiscal year, which would be March 31st. That's the end of the fiscal year. So depending on how a developer feels, for games that they haven't necessarily set a definitive release date, and let's be honest, Xbox did not get a lot of their big titles out last year, notably Starfield and Redfall, right? So if they feel like they need to pump their numbers up before the end of the fiscal year to show that they've done well, then they're going to try to at least get one of those games out before the end of the fiscal year, which would be before the end of March. And they've already said that Starfield and Redfall, well, Starfield especially, would be out in the first half of this year. We'll have to see what happens, right? But my thought is that they'll probably try to get it released before the end of the fiscal year. If it's at least, if it's ready. I think that's the big thing. It needs to be ready, though. Star Wars Jedi Survivor update reveals inappropriate content. Jedi Survivor, the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC-bound sequel to 2019 Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, has been rated by the ESRB ahead of its release. For those that don't know, the ESRB stands for Entertainment Software Rating Board, and they are the self-regulatory organization for the video game industry that specifically rates games for release in the United States. I always have actually, check it out. I always have an ESRB command here in this channel. That way people know what the title we're currently playing game-wise is rated. If there's not an ESRB rating that I can find for the game, then I'll find some other site that can give a pretty comprehensive idea of what it would be closely rated to, right? But I always do that for this channel. That way people know what they can be, getting exposed to in whatever game we're playing. Because we play games all across the board. We play games that are E for everyone all the way up through M for mature, right? Recently, it rated Star Wars Jedi Survivor, giving the name a T for teen rating, which is the same rating as its predecessor. Just like the first game, there's some explicit language. For example, the rating reveals the word bastard is in the game, just like in the first game. Unlike the first game, though, the word ass appears in the game. This is an action-adventure game in which players assume the role of an outlaw Jedi on the run from the Galactic Empire. Read summary of the rating. From a third-person perspective, players explore alien planets while using their Jedi powers to traverse environments and battle enemies in melee-style combat. Players use lightsabers to slash and break apart alien creatures, droids, and humanoid enemies. Combat is fast-paced, with cries of pain, impact sounds, and large explosions. Some sequences depict characters getting impaled through the chest. The words, ass and bastard are heard in the game. What the context is for these parts of the game, we don't know, but expect both words to come out of someone's mouth during the events of the game, which is set to release worldwide on March 17th via the aforementioned platforms. Yeah, I'll just give you the story. If you're not familiar, the story of Cal Kestis continues in Star Wars Jedi Survivor, a third-person galaxy-spanning action-adventure game from Respawn Entertainment developed in collaboration with Lucasfilm Games. This narratively driven single-player title picks up 5 years after the events of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which follows you around playing the same main character, Cal Kestis, okay? Follows Cal's increasingly desperate fight as the galaxy descends further into darkness. Pushed to the edges of the galaxy by the Empire, Cal will find himself surrounded by threats new and familiar as one of the last surviving Jedi Knights. Cal is driven to make a stand during the galaxy's darkest times. How far is he willing to go to protect himself, his crew, and the legacy of the Jedi Order? So, does that word take it? I mean, out of a teen rating, really? I would be surprised. I don't think it would deem the title worthy to be taken out of a T for teen rating because of the word ass. I don't know. That's just my opinion, though. I think most teens can handle an occasional use of that word. I mean, that's just me. I don't work for the ESRB or anything, but you know, it doesn't seem all that terrible to me. But we'll see if they end up changing the ESRB rating for this moving forward. By the way, when am I going to get a Star Wars game that gives me basically the reverse of what these Jedi survivors give me? Star Wars Sith games. Star Wars Sith games. Let me be the last remaining like Sith, you know, and I'm being hunted by Jedi, and I just get to slaughter Jedi while I'm trying to like bring back the Sith into the galaxy. You know, when am I going to get that? It feels bad, dude. I just want to be a Sith Lord. You know, wearing my Joker shirt, appropriate. I'm not joking though. I really want that. Let me be a Sith Lord. Too much good guy stuff, dude. Goblin Slayer game announced for Nintendo Switch and PC. A hit anime series is getting a game adaptation as the Goblin Slayer game was announced by publisher Bushiroad. It is officially titled Goblin Slayer Another Adventure Nightmare Feast. The announcement of the Goblin Slayer game came during Bushiroad's New Year Grand presentation. Not too much was shown off about the game, but it will feature an original story and support both English and Japanese languages. Alongside the information of an original story and language support, Goblin Slayer Another Adventure Nightmare Feast will be available on both Nintendo Switch and PC. Unfortunately, for fans that may want more information, none was provided in the announcement, so it's unclear even as to what type of game it will be. Bushiroad is best known for publishing games through its social smartphone gaming service, Bushimo. But this game is set to be one of the first in its newly established line of console games, under the labeled Bushiroad Games. The game will be developed by Apollosoft and Mebius, and Koichi Kawase is set to direct. Goblin Slayer is a dark fantasy light novel series written by Kumo Kagyu, and illustrated by Noboru Kanatsuki. Originally premiering in 2016, the series is still ongoing, having run for 16 volumes, as well as having been adapted into manga and anime format, the latter of which has seen one season air since premiering in 2018. Is this... Let's see. Let's see what we got. It's not really showing us anything there, so we'll move on. Arcane's Redfall apparently has more in common with Far Cry than Left 4 Dead. Some of Redfall's most powerful moments come from wandering around. Yo, look at this dog. Look at the dog back there. Sick. Arcane Studios creative director Ricardo Bear has hit back at claims that Redfall will be similar to Left 4 Dead games, instead saying it has more in common with Far Cry. Following its reveal, fans have been comparing Arcane's upcoming vampire shooter to Valve's series of cooperative first-person shooter survival horror video games Left 4 Dead. In a new interview with Games Radar, Bear has said that Redfall is more like loading into Far Cry. It's totally understandable for somebody to come to that conclusion, he continued. There are 4 playable characters. You can play together cooperatively, and you're going against the undead. But in terms of the way you play and experience Redfall, it's not like those Left 4 Dead games at all. Bear went on to describe Redfall as a big-ass open world. We have a home base where you can talk to NPCs and get side quests. You can go to the mission table, pick up story-driven missions, or you can not care about any of that and just head outside. Pick a direction, start hauling ass, and run into the living world stuff that we have going on. We want you to creep through a cornfield at night in the fog, hearing vampires whisper in the dark. Maybe you'll spot a farmhouse in the distance, sneak over to it, only to find that it's full of cultists and a few trapped survivors you can save. That's the kind of vibe that Redfall has. Some of Redfall's most powerful moments come from wandering around, absorbing the world, and getting caught up in high action for a moment. That was the atmosphere we set out to create from the beginning. Following the reveal of gameplay footage last year, Redfall director Harvey Smith said, unless I'm mistaken, the trailer should put all the Left 4 Dead comparisons to rest. Redfall was meant to be released last summer, but was delayed along with Starfield to give players the best, most polished versions of them. Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer has said since that it was the right thing to do. Both games are now due for release in the first half of 2023. So Redfall, I couldn't remember if Redfall was deemed to release in the first half, just like Starfield, but apparently yes. In other news, Deadpool director Tim Miller is now handling 2 weeks of reshoots needed on the long. Yeah, we talked about this yesterday. Tim Miller is handling 2 weeks of reshoots on the Borderlands movie. There's some weird stuff happening with the adaptation for Borderlands, so we'll see what happens there. With original director Eli Roth busy on another project. Weird. All right, ESPN. First sports broadcaster to use Unreal Engine for real-time graphics. ESPN has become the first sports broadcaster to use an end-to-end live graphics tool from video game engine developer Epic Games. Epic Games is perhaps best known for its hugely popular free-to-play game Fortnite, but its Unreal Engine is widely used across the gaming industry. The most recent version of its engine, Unreal Engine 5, was launched in May 2020 and can import high-resolution images to create more realistic digital worlds. Included in Unreal Engine 5 is a tool called Project Avalanche, which allows broadcasters to design and deploy an entire graphics package in a single environment. ESPN used Project Avalanche during its production of the Rose Parade, a New Year tradition that precedes the annual Rose Bowl College Football Championship in Pasadena, California. Although not a strictly sporting contest, ESPN says the parade offered an environment in which it could learn about how the technology can be used in the future. Quote, we are debuting a new highly stylized graphics package with Epic Games to elevate the stature and performance of the show, said ESPN Vice President and Executive Producer Jamie Reynolds, who also leads the channel's Grand Slam tennis coverage. This will be the wrapping paper of the whole 2-hour presentation. It will bring an elegance and a sophistication, doing the show that we understand what the Tournament of Roses is trying to convey to the world, and so we give it a bit of stylization that's in phase with their event, so it's staying in harmony with that. The beauty of this is it's a highly scripted show where you don't have to adapt on the fly. Debuting this kind of package in a regimented, structured show, you can follow the playlist and give this a test drive, then figure out how quickly and manageable it is in real-time situation before you use it with X's and O's in a football, basketball, or baseball game. Okay. Epic and ESPN hope to test this. Test of Project Avalanche will showcase both the creative and, potential and robustness of its engine. All right, we'll see how it goes. Okay. I mean, I think this is what people need to understand about that kind of thing. I've talked about this a lot. Video games are being meshed into many different aspects of entertainment. Um, you talk about, especially like Kojima projects. You see Kojima doing a lot of what you would see within um, the other forms of entertainment media, like TV shows and movies, being incorporated into his video games as well, right? Very, very big name actors, a lot of live action shots being incorporated into the games, things like that. We're seeing more of these worlds be incorporated amongst one another, whether it be video game principles or engines and things like that into the movie world or entertainment industry, and vice versa. So, same thing that I talk about sometimes when we get into the discussion about virtual reality. VR, I think quite often is first and foremost looked at something that is just a video game world kind of piece of hardware, right? But it's really not. It is quite often used in the video gaming industry and for us as video game enthusiasts, but it's used in a lot of different applications in the world. We've seen it being incorporated very, very much in sports, where you can get into a practice environment that might be much more difficult for you to get into in a realistic situation where maybe you obviously a lot of times it's going to involve getting some other equipment into that scenario too, but VR, with maybe some kind of, for baseball, professional baseball players in a batting cage environment or something like that, or for golf as well, you can just strap into VR and get on the all kinds of different golf courses. You can be in this virtual environment instead of having to go actual travel. And is it going to be the same thing as necessarily being real life in that environment? No, but is it a very close second best? Absolutely. Same thing with any kind of like winter sports athletes that in the summertime it's a little bit harder to find appropriate places. Not always, but you can get strapped into some VR and maybe some other equipment that allows you to simulate that environment and practice when you're not necessarily up in the slopes or something like that. There's a lot of these worlds that are being meshed together and incorporated in a manner that isn't necessarily what we think of as what they were maybe even necessarily initially developed for, right? It's kind of wild. Dead Space Remake pre-orders will give players a free game. All right, we kind of hit on this previously, but it's been a while. Players who pre-ordered a Dead Space Remake on Steam specifically will also receive a copy of its sequel, Dead Space 2, for free. All right. As mentioned above, those who pre-ordered the Dead Space Remake will be getting a free copy of Dead Space 2, the second game of the series. Although this is a recent announcement, the offer applies to anyone who pre-ordered at all. That means that even if you pre-ordered the game a week or a month ago, you will still get a copy of Dead Space 2. Take note. However, this is only for the Steam version. Although the game itself is also available on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and the Epic Game Store, they do not come with a free game. Players will get the free game once the game comes out on January 27th. The Dead Space remake is a, remake of the original. It was one of the defining horror shooters of all time and is pretty much a household name. When rumors of a remake came out 2 years ago, fans of the series were definitely looking forward to it. Now, with its release date fast approaching, players are definitely getting more and more excited. Giving away a free copy of Dead Space 2 is actually good. This would let players continue the story right after they finish the remake. EA might even remake the second game. If this first remake does well, I have no doubt that they are going to remake the second Dead Space. We just played the entire Dead Space series in Scaretober. So back in October, we played through Dead Space 1, 2, and 3. And they were all good, but especially Dead Space, original Dead Space 1 and 2 are very, very notable, good single-player campaign horror titles. They are anxiety-inducing. They are scary titles, and they're a lot of fun. For those not familiar with the Dead Space franchise of games, let me give you a quick rundown. Dead Space is a third-person shooter with an emphasis on horror. Players take control of Isaac Clarke, an engineer on board the Kellion. They are en route to the Aegis 7 planet where another ship, the Ishimura, is located. One moment. I'm sorry. Apologies. They must figure out exactly why Ishimura lost contact and find out what happened to Isaac's girlfriend who was stationed there. So I think it's a pretty good bet that with Dead Space 1, if it does fairly well, Dead Space 2 remake will be coming shortly in the near future anyways. A lot of the assets that have been made for Dead Space remake will be able to be utilized for Dead Space 2 remake as well, which makes it a very easy thing for them to start getting to work on. Here's the thing. I think a lot of people were expecting Callisto Protocol to scratch the Dead Space itch, and I don't think it did that. Callisto Protocol, I think, fell short. I didn't play it. I kind of wanted to wait and see. We've been caught up in some other playthroughs and everything too, but I kind of wanted to wait and see what Callisto Protocol was going to do. I was actually, I thought it was going to be fairly good because of Glenn Schofield being at the helm of that project. But from everything I've read and everything I've heard, it fell pretty short. It didn't necessarily follow through with what a lot of people were expecting from that title. But unfortunately, I think that EA is probably going to get the benefit of that in coming out with the Dead Space remake. And I'm not a big fan of EA, but they do a pretty solid job with single-player titles. And a Dead Space remake, I think, is really going to, from what I've seen so far anyways, going to do a pretty good job. I'll show you guys.
USG Ishimura, this is the emergency maintenance team of the USG Kellion responding to your distress call.
Isaac Clarke.
What have you
These
got,
games
Isaac?
were so much fun.
The Ishimura's in the red. Engines,
The originals,
hull,
even.
The trams.
They hold up, dude.
Alone?
Fix the centrifuge. Get the fuel running.
This is Senior Medical Officer Nicole Brennan. Medical is overwhelmed. We need help.
Looks pretty good. God, I hate those like serpent looking ones. Those guys. The tails, jeez. They flip the wreck. Oh yes, nice. Alright.
Humanity will be made whole, Mr. Clarke. With or without you.
Isaac, it's me. It's all falling apart here. I can't believe what's happening.
Nicole?
Nicole? Good old Nicole. So there are going to be some notable differences between the remake and the original. The original, if you cleared an area, there would not be enemies there anymore. The remake is not like that. The remake will end up respawning enemies in there at random locations, things like that. There have been some things that there will be spaces of the game that you can now go anti-gravity in, fly around in more fluidly than apparently you could in the first game. There's going to be differences in the first game than the second game, but from what I've read and understand, they've walked a pretty good line of making the game more modern while still staying true to what Dead Space 1 was, right? Which is what you want to happen. But we'll see. Dead Space 1 is iconic. And if they changed too many things and they didn't really hit the mark and keep it true to what Dead Space 1 was, they're going to get a lot of criticism for it. So we'll see what happens. Valorant Episode 6 Cinematic Lotus Map and more revealed. Valorant continues to grow, and in Episode 6 we are treated to 3 new trailers. A cinematic trailer, map trailer, and skin reveal trailer highlight the new content coming through the pipeline. You can check out all 3 trailers down below. Let's see. I have never played Valorant. People love this jam though, dude.
Visions in my head of this. You don't know the half of it. I got dreams of looking up, eyes that compare. Nothing feels like how it feels. To notice things upon my head. The weight of everything, and everything's just straight. Sometimes I'm trapped inside and I don't know what I'm gonna do. But to take on the world is the only thing that we know how to do. I've got dreams. Finding out what all of this is for. It's you and me. And everywhere we go, we lead to an open door.
Yo, is that corn? Hopefully it was uncooked. Yo, that frog bean is dope.
The good and bad days, but nothing really breaks if I got you. Look at the sky when you go outside. I know there is nothing to keep me alive.
Jam right there, dude. I love that animation style, dude. Very arcane, is it not? Cool. Lotus map reveal. We saw that they were coming out with a new map, but we haven't really seen it yet. Yeah. I mean, have you seen
Anytime.
have you seen the Arcane League of Legends Arcane show?
Not in a position to take a tour at the moment.
No, I'm not even a fan of League of Legends, but dude, that show on Netflix is actually amazing.
I'll buy you some time.
Grim, you copy?
Copy. Talk to me.
Incredible.
So apparently this map was initially supposed to be some kind of like space station map or something like that, and then they changed it into this.
Hang tight.
We just read about this the other day, but we hadn't seen it yet.
Grim, this place is far from dead. They can use it. Huh, I may have found a silent approach.
Good to know.
Bro.
Out of my way. They worked together? Guardians and people. Oh, there's still so much I don't know. Okay. Another Radianite site. The amount of power held here
It's pretty map.
is staggering. We have to stop them.
Good, you're back. Now help me deal with your counterpart.
Counterpart. She's already here.
Her mohawk's sick, dude. That's awesome.
No.
So that's the look at the new map. City of Flowers, Lotus map, yeah. And then this is the last video here. Araxis Skyline trailer. Skin reveal. Pretty sure that was a Decepticon. Yeah, we got a new Transformers game in development too, though. That's pretty cool. And it does look like you can play as a good mix of either Autobots or Decepticons, which is kind of neat. That is not what this is, but since I brought it up. Huh, interesting. Okay, sick. Yeah, for all you Valorant players out there, there you go. So look, some of the new stuff coming, all right? Official Final Fantasy 16 video reimagines the PS5 game in pixel art style. Final Fantasy 16 is set to release later this year, and Square is finding some unique ways to promote the PS5 game. Creative director Kazutoyo Mahiro and composer Masayoshi Soken have released a short new video meant to evoke the franchise's earliest games. In the video, protagonist Clive and the wolf Torgal can be seen running as a chiptune version of one of the game's tracks can be heard. For longtime Final Fantasy fans, it's well worth checking out. Video in the tweet. Let's see. We'll watch it there. But yeah, let's watch this. Let's see. Oh, that's wild, dude. Check this out. That is sick, dude. Well done. Well done, Square. That's pretty dope, dude. That is some old school stuff. What's happening? This is like Final Fantasy. So Final Fantasy 16 is coming out, right? Like, and so this is like just a little thing they made as a fun little like video to get people hyped about pre-ordering it and everything. But they basically just like made a little chip tune. They made this little video of like pixel art along with like a chip tune, but it's just to get some nostalgia going for people about like old school Final Fantasy stuff. Even though this is not the way the game looks, Final Fantasy 16 looks really cool. It's very modern graphics and stuff, but they made this like this old school looking version of some Final Fantasy 16 stuff just to get people hyped up. That's all it is. But it's pretty neat looking. It's very old school. So this is Final Fantasy 16. And they're just hyping people up with some old school nostalgia kind of stuff. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, Ghost Trooper. Yeah, no doubt. So like I'm a big Final Fantasy fan. My favorite game of all time is Final Fantasy 7. Some of my other very, very notable favorite games of all time are like Final Fantasy. Well, it's Final Fantasy 6 in the US, Final Fantasy 3 in Japan. Final Fantasy 10 is up there as well. Final Fantasy 1 also. That's one of the first RPGs I ever played. So I've got a place in my heart for Final Fantasy. I couldn't take the turn-based. Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of people that are cool with turn-based, but it's one of those things that like if you kind of grew up with an amount of turn-based, you're cool with it. But if it's not something you necessarily did a whole lot of, maybe as you were growing up with gaming it, then it's more the action RPG stuff is what you gravitate towards too. And I'm cool with both. Like I like both of them. It doesn't really matter to me. The turn-based definitely has more of a nostalgic feel to me, as opposed to the action-based RPG stuff, which is more of what everything has turned to in modern gaming, right? So I respect it and I understand it as well. While Soken's composition has already has some wanting more, fans shouldn't expect to hear a full chiptune soundtrack anytime soon. That would be cool though. When one fan asked for just that, Soken was quick to know that this is just my way of letting off some steam. A full album doesn't seem to be in the cards anytime soon, but that doesn't mean we won't see another track or two from Final Fantasy 16 remade in a similar way. Fans will just have to keep their fingers crossed and hope for the best. The mashup of new school Final Fantasy with old school makes a lot of sense considering Square Enix's plans for 2023. In addition to Final Fantasy 16's release, PS4 and Switch fans can look forward to the console release of Final Fantasy Pixel Remasters. The remasters cover the first 6 games of the Final Fantasy franchise, so fans that have never had the opportunity to play the earlier games will be able to do so in the near future. Unlike Final Fantasy 16, the Pixel Remasters do not currently have a release date, but the physical collection of the games quickly sold out. Final Fantasy 16 is set to release June 22nd, exclusive on PS5. In the meantime, readers can check out all of our previous coverage of the game right there. If you want to check it out, I'll leave it to you. We've seen a lot of the Final Fantasy 16 stuff, so but if you want to check out a little bit more, there are some links in that article, okay? Xbox Developer Direct event may be coming this month, showcasing various Xbox games. I would not be surprised with some of the notable titles they have coming. specifically Redfall and Starfield, that slipped from last year into this year, along with the fact that we've got other titles coming from them that people are kind of hyped about, that we haven't seen much of yet. I would not be surprised if we saw an Xbox event within the next month. There are some sources saying Xbox will be holding a game showcase event titled Developer Direct, which will give information on various upcoming games. This information comes courtesy of Windows Central, who gave us quite a lot of information about the event. As mentioned above, it's likely called Developer Direct. Sounds a lot like Nintendo's Direct event, which we're waiting to find information on that. Nintendo's so tough to nail down on when they're going to do their events, but supposedly there's a Nintendo Direct showcase supposed to be happening sometime fairly soon. I keep looking for information because we will watch it here as long as I can find out when it's happening. It's most likely just a coincidence, and quite funny and interesting one that at that. If Microsoft intends to keep doing this, it would be a step in the right direction. Some of the upcoming Xbox games are highly anticipated, so getting information about them really helps players learn more about the games. Speaking of games, they also gave a list of some of the games that would be making an appearance. Sources said that the games list includes Redfall, Minecraft Legends, and Forza Motorsport. They also expect content from ZeniMax Online Studios to make an appearance during the event. They also mentioned that Xbox and Bethesda will be hosting the show, giving information about the games. However, they mentioned that Starfield might not be making an appearance at that event for a bigger marketing beat later on. Interesting. That means we might have to wait a little while longer before finding out more about Starfield, including its release date. This brings us to when exactly the event is taking place. They mentioned that Xbox Developer Direct event will happen on January 25th at 12 p.m. PST. So roughly 2 weeks from now. The stream will take place on Xbox's Twitch and YouTube channels. Sources did mention, however, that these details may be subject to change. Should actual confirmed details come out, we'll be sure to update you about it. So yeah, here's the deal. I'm going to make a mental note of this date and time, okay? Roughly 2 weeks from now. But we do the news every day, meaning that as we get closer to this date, we will get definitive time when this event is going to be happening, and we will watch it here in the channel almost definitely. Here's what usually happens. Anytime an event takes place, we will watch it here live as long as it's taking place whenever our normal, or close to when our normal streaming time happens. So we're usually live from 6 a.m. CST all the way till roughly 2 to 3 p.m. CST. So as long as something's taking place within that time frame or close to it, we'll usually take a look at it live while it's happening. Otherwise, we'll watch the VOD the very next day. But usually I try to get us a good look when the event happens live, okay? But we'll keep track. This is saying that it would be about 2 p.m. for us, which basically what would happen if it is on January 25th, it would be about 2 p.m. for us. We would just do the news, we would game all day, and then we would end our gaming and just watch this event to end the stream with, okay? So that's what we'll plan on doing right now. We'll keep track. Make sure that if the time, date changes or whatever, then, we'll just remain agile with that and we'll keep track, okay? Xbox boss seemingly teases big news for this week. Looks like a notable Xbox boss has teased that big news associated with the video game brand might be coming about later this week. To close out 2022, Xbox ended on a pretty rough note. While one of the only major Xbox exclusives of the past year, Pentiment, launched in late 2022, Xbox didn't have anything else to say about what could be lying in wait for fans in 2023. They had Life is Strange as well, right? Wasn't that the name of the game? Is that? No, not Life is Strange. What's the game I'm thinking about? Oh god, dude, I'm tripping. Hold on. Why can't I think of the name of that? High on Life. Thank you, Ghost. Thank you, man. Yeah, High on Life. Dude, they had High on Life, and it did very well also. So it's not like Pentiment was the only launch they had last year, and High on Life was late last year as well, and High on Life did very well. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it, man. Helping out the old 3-head, dude. Luckily, if a new tease is to be believed, it sounds like this won't be true for much longer. Posted on Twitter this morning, Xbox VP Aaron Greenberg indicated that Xbox might have some major announcements to share in the coming days. Although Greenberg didn't get into specifics, his tweet suggested that Xbox is going to have a fun week. Despite giving fans so little to go by, this didn't prevent many from getting quite excited and caused Greenberg's tweet to quickly become highly circulated. What might Greenberg actually be teasing here? It seems like we already have a good idea. Not like after this teaser from Greenberg went up, a new report from Windows Central came about and stated that Xbox will be hosting a new developer direct. That's what we just talked about. January 25th. Yes. Okay. So that's all that was really about. Okay. Yes. Xbox's big games did not release, which were Bethesda titles, right? Redfall, Starfield. Okay. But it's not like they were totally blank. It was a bit disappointing, I think, for Xbox. I think most people would agree with that. But it's not like it was blank slate, man. They had some... Pentiment came out. It did well. And High on Life did very well. Again, thanks, Ghost. I appreciate it, man, helping me out there. High on Life did very well. So it's not what they wanted 2022 to be. I think everybody would agree with that. But we'll see what 2023 turns out to be for them since these games slipped a little bit. Look, and I think most of us agree as the consumer and gaming enthusiast, we would rather see a delay and have a game come out and feel good than for a developer to rush it and for us to end up with something like a Cyberpunk release. You know what I mean? So while maybe Xbox didn't have the closeout to 2022 that they had expected or that many people had expected from them, it's in the long run probably a better move that they delayed both of those big launches, right? Forza Horizon leave Xbox's Playground Games to form new AAA studio. UK-based Maverick Games' first release will be an open-world title. Some of the key talent behind Forza Horizon series has left Xbox's Playground Games to form Maverick Games. The Leamington Spa UK-based outfit's founding team is led by former Forza Horizon creative director Mike Brown, who's serving as its creative director and studio head. The startup said it has secured significant seed funding, and its debut game will be a new premium open-world title for consoles and PC, although Tuesday's announcement didn't confirm if it's in the racing genre. Maverick's leadership team also includes Chief Operating Officer Harinder Sangha. I might have butchered that. I apologize. Who was previously co-studio head of Sumo Digital Leamington, and executive producer Tom Butcher, who was formerly lead producer at Playground. Its chief technology officer Matt Craven was Playground's technical director. Its content director Gareth Harwood was technical art director at the Xbox studio, and audio director Fraser Stochin held the same role at the Forza developer. Ex-Playground studio art director Ben Penrose is Maverick's art director, while former EA Experience design director Ellie Marshall is the company's UX UI director. Quote, "Our goal is for Maverick Games to be a studio people will love," said Brown. "For players, we're already at work on an exciting, ultra high-quality title, and for developers, we're building a home where everyone is encouraged to take risks. Be curious, be creative, be innovative, be themselves, and above all, be a Maverick." Interesting. Forza Horizon 5 released in November of 2021 and enjoyed the biggest launch in Xbox history, attracting over 10 million players in its first week, according to Microsoft. Like all first-party Microsoft games, the title is included with Xbox Game Pass, and it reached 20 million players in under 7 months. Interesting, man. That's a lot of people that left there to go form up this studio. Maverick Games. All right. That's notable. And we'll have to pay attention and see what comes out of Maverick, since they're already, being clear about the fact they have a big open world title in development, right? So we'll see what comes. League of Legends teases 2 new champions and reveals sweeping ranked changes. One upcoming champion will be a Darkened Assassin with a simple kit, while the other will be a fire-wielding enchanter. League of Legends developer Riot has teased 2 new champions that are coming to multiplayer games in 2023, including a support-oriented enchanter and a Darkened Assassin. In a look ahead at what's to come over the next year, Riot has shared a few details on how it will be making a more diverse champion pool that's inclusive of cultures, genders, and in-game skill levels throughout 2023. Though details are slim, the developer has shared the names of 2 champions, Melio and Naafiri, that are planned to launch this year. While Melio is a male enchanter from Ixtal that will be able to wield fire, Naafiri will be a darkened mid-lane assassin that offers a straightforward kit for players to learn. Riot added that Naafiri will be able to use bodies as part of her kit and will be oriented towards finding her darkened brothers and hunting in a pack. Naafiri will be the first darkened champion to be added to League of Legends since Kayn was introduced in 2017. Beyond the new champions, 2023 will also see mid-lane mage Ari receiving a visual update, while Arleon Soul is scheduled for more sizable rework that will revolve around giving the dragon a more exciting kit. Season 2023 also brings significant changes to the ranked system in League of Legends. Typically, year-long split will now be broken into 2, which will involve a ranked reset halfway through the season. This means that an extra ranked skin will be up for grabs as a reward for competing, and Riot has noted that mid-season ranked reset will not be as dramatic as the one that takes place at the beginning of each year. Last month, League of Legends and the rest of Riot's catalog were made available on Xbox Game Pass. As a result, League players who connect their Game Pass accounts will receive access to the game's champion roster, as well as 20% XP boost. There you go. If you need more info for you League of Legends players, there you go. Steam hits record-breaking 10 million concurrent in-game players. Look, again, Steam keeps breaking records. They're breaking their own records. Video games are more popular than ever before, and Steam has provided tangible evidence of this mainstream shift. As reported by Steam Database, an automated tracker releasing data about Steam's active users and the most popular games being played, the PC gaming platform hit 10 million concurrent in-game players in January, its largest milestone yet. While its concurrent user total far exceeds this number at 32 million, that was the record they just broke here recently. Concurrent user total, right? This marks the first time the platform has recorded 10 million active users playing video games at once. Nearly 1/3 of people who had Steam open on their PCs were actually playing games, whether solo or in multiplayer mode. The total was recorded on Saturday morning, 7 January, with a similar amount of users being noted on Sunday. While it's far from the largest possible total, it accounts for global players in multiple time zones, each playing a game on PC on Steam. Games being played included many of the usual suspects: Counter-Strike, Dota 2, PUBG, Call of Duty, and Apex were among the hits. A variety of factors likely contributed to this milestone. The Steam Deck is now available in many corners of the world. Yeah. Also, in the midst of holiday and vacation time in most countries, and school-age children likely contribute significantly to this total. A lot of kids are like kind of hitting back into school at this point, though, aren't they? There's also the possibility of some players having time off work or enjoying a final weekend before a return to the action post-holidays. Yeah. Whatever the case, it's clear Steam's active audience is growing. Yes. Yeah. This is what I mean when we came across this article. This is what I've been saying to people. They keep breaking their own records roughly every 3 to 4 months tops. It's like, first, you saw this number 32 million. It was 30 million in October or September, October. It was the record was concurrent user total of 30 million was the new record in September or October, something like that. And then December, it was 32 million. And now January, it's they hit a record of 10 million active concurrent users. They keep breaking their own records, right? So it's there are more and more and more people getting into gaming, right? And Steam is the biggest platform for PC gaming. So it makes sense that their numbers just continue to kind of rise and rise and rise. So, I mean, we keep hitting this. We keep seeing this again about every, 2 to 3 to 4 months. We see where Steam is continuing to break their own records. Okay. We hit on this the other day. So I'm just going to take another stab at this and see if there's anything new to cover. Otherwise, it'll be hopefully some content people haven't seen yet. It's notable, okay? Dungeons & Dragons content creators outraged over licensing changes demand the game remain open. So Dungeons & Dragons content creators are furious over alleged changes coming to the immersive tabletop games Open Game License, OGL, right, from owner and publisher Wizards of the Coast. The changes will reportedly change the rules which allow third-party creators to create and sell their own supplemental products, thus making it harder for those to be created and sold without Wizards' approval. According to Gizmodo's Linda Codiga, the new D&D license, OGL 1.1, will take aim at controlling what kinds of content can be distributed. Global giant Hasbro, which is ultimately owns Wizards of the Coast, through Wizards of the Coast, regularly creates new additions to the game, but the current license allows for creative game masters and players to dream up their own additions to the existing system and sell them. Now, this means tabletop games, video games, anything like that, right? So from Linda Codiga, this was January 5th. Yesterday, I received the full text of the OGL 1.1 from a reputable source. The updated Open Gaming License, OGL, is incredibly restrictive, demands community surveillance, and most importantly, renders the previous Wizards of the Coast, OGL, an unauthorized agreement. Now, what's funny is that the previous OGL says that any following OGL cannot supersede the initial OGL, if I remember correctly. So there's some really, really conflicting statements within both of these OGLs. And it's probably going to result in a lot of legal stuff going on here. These third-party products were formerly protected under the original OGL, but the new system is said to be far more restrictive. In fact, Codiga says that these changes will have a major focus on making creators report their published works directly to Wizards prior to release. Even though these creators have no actual affiliation with Wizards of the Coast, right? Other than the fact that they are creating some kind of custom game or universe or whatever that is maybe loosely based on Dungeons & Dragons rules. Quote, it addresses new technologies like blockchain and NFTs. It takes a strong stance against bigoted content, explicitly stating the company may terminate the agreement if third-party creators publish material that is blatantly racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, bigoted, or otherwise discriminatory, reports the Gizmodo journalist. At this present time, as per the current OGL, creators, both amateur and professional, are granted permission to release content containing the game's unique mechanics and systems. Most of the current versions of the game explain that these items, which together make up what is called the system reference document, are perpetually protected as long as the involved parties abide by the terms of the license. The thing is, even if Wizards of the Coast drops OGL 1.1 completely, we all know now how badly they tried to screw over the community of third-party creators that have allowed their game to flourish. We know they'd hurt all of us for the promise of minuscule gains. That is basically the thing. The original OGL was mutually beneficial, right? It allowed third-party creators to utilize Dungeons & Dragons mechanics and things like that in their content. And it brought a lot of publicity and recognition to the Dungeons & Dragons world. So it was a mutually beneficial thing. And basically what this new OGL is doing is trying to really, really, really shut down and constrain a lot of what the original OGL allowed creators to do. Another major change is the introduction of a tiered system, which would see creators of different sizes being required to pay back more to Wizards depending on how much money they earned off materials referenced in the SRD. In the version of the document obtained by Codiga, only publishers who make over $750,000 will be required to pay royalties, and even then it will only be on the amount made after that benchmark. These changes have angered some fans and creators alike. Game designer Benjamin Huffman responded to the news tweeting, "The thing is, even if Wizard of the Coast drops OGL 1.1 completely, we all know how badly they tried to screw over the community." Yeah. Huffman also posted an open letter, which can be read here. I'll give everybody this link so they can read it if they want, which he states, "Wizards of the Coast has shown they are the dragon on top of the horde, willing to burn the thriving village, if only to get a few more gold pieces. It's time for us to band together as adventurers to defend our village from the terrible worm." Meanwhile, at RETV tweeted, "Surely they must realize this is going to horribly backfire." Another fan wrote, "Man, this feels so distasteful and like a slap to all of us." It should be noted that the team behind D&D previously released a post claiming that the OGL is not going away several weeks prior to Codiga's report. However, Codiga also acknowledged this is the start of her report. So, yeah, this is one of those situations where it's like they came out with a very open general guideline for creators in the past, and it was a very mutually beneficial thing, and it was nice. It was good for creators, and it was good for D&D, right? It was good for Wizards of the Coast. And now Wizards is like, "Oh, well, we need control of all of this. We need to be making more money off of all of this," right? They're kind of trying to like backtrack and go, "Now that you guys have done all this work, right? Now that you guys have done all this hard work in getting the recognition and building up our brand, we need to really, really tighten down the straps on you guys and make sure that we are the ones benefiting the most out of all of this." We've seen Nintendo doing the same thing recently off of a lot of the like Smash tournament stuff, right? Where Smash World Tour was an organization that kind of developed of their own volition because Nintendo didn't ever want to have anything to do with Smash being a competitive title, right? Nintendo was like, "Well, it was never meant to be competitive. We didn't want it to be that, so we don't really care about it being a tournament-based, competitive kind of situation," right? So Smash World Tour came about. They were like, "Okay, we're gonna take the helm here. We're going to try to really create a nice tournament environment, competitive environment for the people that are fans of this game, that want to be competitive in this world." And now Nintendo comes about and goes, "Oh, hey, you guys are making too much money on this. Now we want to be involved." And they actually just wrecked everything. You know, it feels really, really, really terrible when companies try to do this. They don't, they don't want to do any of the work. They want everybody to do the work for them. And then they want to come in and shut everything down later on and go, "Oh, hey, thanks." But it really does. I mean, it feels like a big slap in the face to all these organizations that did all this hard work for them. I mean, are these organizations benefiting a little bit as well? Yeah, but it's a mutually beneficial situation for both sides. And, it's a bad situation. It really is. Last article I have, then we're going to move on to our gaming stuff, okay? If you have anything to add that I haven't touched on that you might be aware of, let me know in chat and I'll address it before we finish up the video gaming news segment and we head into day 30 of our Breath of the Wild playthrough. Cool. 1 month after its release, one of our favorite games of 2022 is already $20 off. Get the best superhero game in the last 10 years. That's going to be a bit subjective there. Yeah. But it is supposed to be very good. Marvel's Midnight Suns is on sale at Steam for $40. Strategy card RPG campaign from Firaxis, otherwise known as the folks that made XCOM. So this is a very turn-based strategy kind of game, but it does incorporate something different, which is the card-based aspect to it that we haven't really seen from them before, right? Yo, random mode time. Get them in there. Try to get a free sub. Exclamation point rando mode. Go. You're looking for the future man. I'm not going to read all this. Here's your TLDR, okay? Their second favorite game at PC Gamer of the year is Marvel's Midnight Suns after Elden Ring, right? And it's on sale right now on multiple platforms, different editions too. I think what they're saying is basically on Steam right now. If you haven't started it yet, consider this a PSA. Our second favorite game of 2022 is $20 off on Steam. Actually, all of Midnight Suns' tiered editions are 33% off until January 16th. So you got basically 6 more days, okay? The base edition is $40. The Digital Plus edition is $54, which includes 11 special character skins. And the Legendary edition is $67 US, down from $99, which is 23 special character skins, and the Season Pass, which is $50 standalone. The Season Pass is. This has been notable on different platforms. It was on, I think, PlayStation, dude. It was the Legendary Edition was on sale first and foremost that we read in the news. But it's been going on sale on different platforms. Right now, this is specifically talking about Steam, but you should check whatever platform you're interested in playing this on to see if it might be on sale there too, because I've seen sales on this already on numerous different platforms for all of the different editions as well. And it is supposed to be a pretty cool play, especially if you're into superhero games. And fortunately enough, this came out after a pretty not great release for a superhero game in Arkham Knights. And hopefully this has been a better experience for a lot of people that enjoy the superhero universes, right? But I will give you this link, all right? If you're interested in having this on Steam, there's your links for that. The last thing I have is don't forget to get your free games, okay? Free games, dude. Dudes and dudesettes. We've got Kerbal Space Program, okay? That is free right now on Epic. So is Shadow Tactics Blades of the Shogun, their standalone expansion, Aiko's Choice. They gave away the base game a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago maybe, something like that. And now the standalone expansion is free as well. So grab your free games, okay? You've only got 2 days left. 2 days left. These will no longer be free. And then it will be First Class Trouble and Game Deck Definitive Edition, okay? These are the games coming up. I have no affiliation with Epic. I just try to promote as much free software, free games, free content as I can to the community, because I feel like quite often pricing, monetization is such a huge hurdle for people to be able to get into the game, video games, the world that I love. And I want to give as many people as possible the opportunity to get free content, okay? So even if you're not a PC gamer right now, understand this. All you have to do, there's always the chance that at some point in the future, you might decide to start doing some PC gaming, okay? They have a website. You don't have to have the desktop platform. They have a website. It literally takes a few minutes to create an account, which is free, and then they give away like 2 free games every single week. I have over 200 games in my library, and I have paid for maybe a handful of these. And we're talking notable stuff. Death Stranding. I paid for that one. But Mortal Shell, Dishonored. There's all kinds of Fallout games. Sable. There's all kinds of great games, man, that you get for free. And even, again, if you're not a PC gamer right now, you could become one. Get on a mobile device, whatever, go on their website, create an account, and just log in every week and grab your free games. That way, if you do decide to start doing some PC gaming, you'll have a big library of games that you can just start playing right away, okay? It doesn't cost you anything but about 5 minutes of your time. That's it. All right? That's what I got. That is the news for today, January 10th. Cool. You guys rock. I appreciate you very much. Thanks for being a part of today's news segment and a part of this community. You guys helped create such an amazing place here. And I appreciate it very much. I love being here every day doing this. We always start off our streams at 6 a.m. CST with our video gaming news segment, and then we run right into whatever gameplay we have slated for the rest of the day, which today will be day 30 of Breath of the Wild. So if you're enjoying what you're seeing here as maybe a VOD later on the Twitch channel or on our YouTube channel, see what you can do about coming and hanging out with us when we do go live every morning at 6 a.m. and come hang out with us and have a good time. Cool. Other than that, you guys stay healthy, stay safe, be kind to one another, and we will catch everybody tomorrow for the next video gaming news segment, which will be January 11th edition. Cool?